The next chapter. A nice thought. Despite having obtained the curse of the hunting clappers, Haruhi Shigema is determined to use the rite of resurrection by stealing the remaining curse stones. She instructs her private investigator, Richter, to find the other curse bearers. I just want to go back real quick. So it doesn't look like we have any branching paths yet. So I was wrong. The choice that she made before didn't mean a thing. Let's go, let's go. It's been almost an hour since Richter left. He promised he'd call me if anything happened. But he hasn't. So, all I can do is wait. And wait. And wait. And wait. And wait. Let's investigate everything. It's probably the same things, but we'll investigate everything anyway. Oh, I can't even click the sticker. I'm waiting for Richter to contact me, but he hasn't. Okay, newspaper's new, so we'll get that. What's this? A newspaper? It must have fallen off the chair. Read it. It's a newspaper. I only leave them in here for the guests. I hardly ever read them myself. I don't think I've taken the time to go over one in years, in fact. Well, it's not like I have anything better to do. Education articles. Everyone attends high school now. Even girls. Universal Education Policy, they call it. The country's gotten rich enough that every child can go to school. Education is the backbone of modern society. If you want to work for a good company, you have to get into a good university. With more people in the running than ever, the competition to get into those universities has gotten quite fierce, though. The new generation is rebelling. Oh wait, is this the newspaper or her inner monologue? I don't know. I'll just keep reading it as her. Schoolyard violence and delinquency are on the rise. But my boy was too sensible to get mixed up in any of that. I don't want to read anymore. It'll only remind me of him. Let's think. I know it's dangerous to go out, but I can't just sit here and let this opportunity pass me by. I have to look for her. For Michio Shiraishi. But first, I need to find more soul tricks. So I really can't read the newspaper anymore? Oh, yes I can. Pfft. Okay, let's just go down the line. Let's look at the society. It looks like the city's biggest problem right now is pollution. I remember how the air and water used to be even more polluted. The river was covered in scum from all the sewage and industrial waste, and it stank so badly it made my eyes water. Eventually, people started getting sick, and it couldn't be ignored anymore. Fortunately, it's gotten better since then. Although the air around the industrial district is still filthy with gas and smog. If there's one thing Honjo never wants for, it's horrific crimes. They found a police officer dead in a local park just the other day. Oh, I wonder if that's the police officer that Jun and Tetsuo were trying to investigate. A lot of my family are in the police. I hope it wasn't anybody I knew. I don't read the news anymore. Not since last year. It brings back bad memories. A suicide at local high school? And this one was the high school girl. The other high school girl. The one that Shogo just immediately bopped off. Oh, I remember that. A high school girl jumped off a roof about a week ago. She was bullied, I think? Or maybe it was something about exam pressure. Huh? What? But... Wait, the clock stopped ticking. No, this can't be right. Her name. Michio Shiraishi? From Komagata High School? It can't be. Oh, let's think. Michio Shiraishi. The same girl who witnessed my son's kidnapping committed suicide last week? But that means Mr. Jonoichi was terrified of someone who already died. Is that what he meant by a curse? I can't work this out on my own. Maybe Richter will know. Why won't he call? Oh, I haven't left it off the hook, have I? I've made sure the receiver's on the hook. It'll ring as soon as he calls. Oh! That must be him. But what if I want to keep reading the newspaper? I'm just gonna ignore it. I'm gonna ignore it. Let's keep reading. Economy? Yeah, you're right. This isn't interesting. Okay, let's answer. Hello? Shigema residence? Where are we now? Komagata Bridge. Richter called me out to meet him, and we came here, to Komagata Bridge. Richter, there's something I need to tell you. Funny, I was just thinking the same thing. Really? The Sumida River. The water is filthy and horrid. But at night, when it's still, it looks almost peaceful. Can I ask you something, ma'am? Is the Sumida River what you Honjo folks picture when you think of home? I couldn't say. All I can tell you is that I can hardly stand the sight of it. Because of her son. Her son's body was found in it. Right. Should have guessed. This is where they found him after he went missing. All alone. Floating in that horrible water. All I can think is how scared he must have been. How cold he must have been. What did he ever do to deserve something so awful? I've come here every day since then. And I prayed to the river to give him back. To give me back my son. Day after day after day. You know, in olden times, people believed rivers marked where our world met the next. So, the act of cross and flowing water had a huge amount of spiritual significance. Back when Edo was founded, the people of Chuo saw the Sumida River the same way. They associated the far side of the river with the afterlife. That same place would later become Honjo. All their fear and revulsion accumulated there and took root. But then, the Ryogoku Bridge sprang up after the Great Fire of Mireki, and just like that, Honjo was part of the city too. And as it turned from farmland into a town, the people surrounded it with man-made rivers and crisscrossed it with canals and waterways. Weren't those to prevent flooding? That's what I was told. They were, but that's not all they were for. Their other purpose was to contain all the corruption that had built up on the far shore, and to stop it leaking through to our side of the Great Divide. Officially, they were a physical barrier, but unofficially, they were a spiritual one too. So, if I have this right, are you saying that Honjo is a place where the real world meets the afterlife? That is exactly what he said, Harue. I'm gonna need some better active listening out of you. Exactly. That's why the rite of resurrection is here, rather than anywhere else. I'm sure of it. And it's probably why the 7 mysteries and their curses have survived to the modern day. And I guess that would make this spot we're standing now, right over the water, the border between life and death. If there ever was a place where bringing back the dead might be possible, I reckon it's here. You reckon, Richter? You reckon? It's funny that you mentioned praying to the river. That might have done more than you think. Is that supposed to make me feel better? Just thinking aloud, ma'am. Well, it's a nice thought. Sumida River. Okay, let's check the surroundings. We're on Komagata Bridge, over the Sumida River. There's a highway on one side and a freeway on the other, but they're both deserted this late at night. He's gazing down at the water. What does he see down there, I wonder? Guess that's nothing. Anything up here? Anything down there? Well, we could still look at the Sumida River. Oh, that's right. There's one more memory I have of this river. Do you mind if I tell you? Go ahead. It must have been about, 20 years now, when I was still a schoolgirl. Back then, the Sumida River was much filthier than it is now. It was full of garbage and industrial discharge. It was scummy, slimy, and it stank. You could look out over the water and see dead cats and dogs, pigeons, just floating. And one day, among all the filth and garbage, there was a piece of my missing classmate's hand. What? It was almost a miracle when you stop to think about it. What were the chances that someone would find a part of her that was still recognizable? And that, although everything but the palm had rotted away in the water, the part that was left would have an identifiable scar. And that they could tell it'd be a murder from the blade marks on the bone. Wait, are you talking about the Nijima murders? So you have heard of it. I'm impressed. I assume you were but an elementary schooler at the time. I wasn't really aware of it then. I only heard about it after the fact. Oh, I had no idea the victim was a classmate of yours. The Nejima murders. A notorious case from over 2 decades ago, involving the murder of a female high school student. It came to the attention of the authorities when part of a human left hand was discovered floating in the Sumida River. Testing revealed it to belong to a missing female high school student. As it appeared to have been severed deliberately, the police launched a murder investigation. A large-scale search of the river was organized, but the highly polluted state of the water made this impossible. Visibility was poor, the stench was intense, and the divers quickly fell ill. They succeeded in recovering only the victim's head and what appeared to be part of her leg before the search was called off. At the time of the incident, the Sumida River was as polluted as it had ever been. Neither fish nor shellfish could survive in it, eventually causing the annual fireworks display to be called off indefinitely. Over the course of the search, the police discovered a number of unidentified human bones. This caused a stir among the public, as several other young women had gone missing in recent years in the Tokyo area, and it was feared that they may have fallen victim to the same fate. Forensic technologies at the time, however, were not advanced enough to determine the identities of the deceased, and so the police were unable to open any inquiries. Due to the overwhelming lack of circumstantial evidence, the investigation ground to a halt until a hitherto unrelated individual came to its attention. During a questioning about a separate incident, Fumichika Nejima, a 36-year-old shop owner with no relation to the victim, divulged details about her that had never been released to the public. An investigation into his background was conducted, leading to his arrest. Nejima testified that he had snatched his victim from the street and confined her in the underground storeroom of his shop, which also served as his living quarters. Creepy. He chose her for no special reason, but simply decided she was an opportune target on seeing her walking alone at night. This is why it's dangerous for girls. After keeping her locked up for several days, he restrained her, sewed her mouth shut, and severed her fingers and toes with a box cutter while she was still conscious. As she screamed silently behind her sealed lips, he proceeded to her wrists, her ankles, her elbows, her knees, working his way inwards slowly and methodically. His victim constantly wavered in and out of consciousness. Her ordeal continued until she died of blood loss. Nejima dismembered the rest of her body and disposed of it behind his home in the Sumida River before cleaning his storeroom and returning to his everyday routine as if nothing had happened. The brutality of his actions shocked the nation when they were eventually reported. Once apprehended, Nejima readily divulged the details of the murder, but was less willing to explain his motive. When asked, he would only break down in tears, saying, "I don't know what came over me. I know it was wrong." In the end, the police could extract nothing more from him than expressions of remorse, although the efficiency of his methods strongly suggests that he had committed similar crimes in the past. No corroborating evidence ever came to light. Nejima was sentenced to life in prison at his first hearing. The sentence was imposed with no appeal from the defendant. Ugh! I don't know what I was expecting, but it clearly wasn't that. I thought he would look a bit older. Like, you know, some facial hair maybe, some more wrinkles. He looks like if Muck pretended to be a schoolgirl. If you put a wig on a Muck. Fumichika Nejima, male, self-employed. Curse echo? None. The man who made headlines over 2 decades ago as the perpetrator of the brutal killings known as the Nejima murders. To be honest, it was all a bit of a blur. A wave of chaos just parting around me. Something like that. They said the rest of her body must have sunk to the bottom of the river. They combed the riverbed, but they only ever found pieces. Everything else must have rotted and flowed out to sea. Afterwards, I heard that all the divers who had been looking for her fell ill, sorry story for everyone involved, huh? It's funny. Everyone figures the river is filthy already, but so one more piece of garbage won't hurt. But every little bit makes it worse. It's a vicious cycle. I know I wouldn't want to go rooting around down there myself. That's right. Which is why the riverbed is the last place anybody would go looking. Or so was the killer's thinking, I suppose. The times were changing quickly back then. Things were confusing. Everyone seemed to be in a hurry. Young people were moving to Tokyo in droves. Some even ran away from home to make it in the big city. And they made it easy targets for bad people. A lot of them ended up disappearing without a trace. You see, back then, if you chopped a body up into tiny pieces and threw it in the river, it would rot quickly and discreetly and sink to the bottom, never to be seen again. Are you saying what I think you're saying? They arrested him shortly after, Fumichika Nejima, the man who killed my classmate and cut her into pieces. He was so methodical about it. It couldn't have been his first crime. And people began to wonder how many other girls he'd murdered the same way. The police never found any evidence of other murders in the end. But the river knows the truth. How many corpses has it swallowed up over the years, I wonder? That same thought spread through everyone's mind, and they started to avoid this area. So, really, this river has been rank with corruption for decades now. Or at least, that's how it seems to me. Well, was that interesting? Well, that was something. I can see why you don't have any good memories of this river. With all that darkness lurking beneath the surface, there's no reason that you would. Still, if I may, ma'am, I'm surprised you know so much about the Nejima murders. But how could I not? After all, I was the one who found the hand. Gasp! The police actually wrote me a thank you letter. They said it was only thanks to me that they managed to bring Nejima to justice. That was the only time my father ever said he was proud of me. Oof. Huh. I guess it just wasn't the killer's day. Sometimes I wonder if he resents me for it. That was some long-ass history, Harue. I'm scared of you. I'm so scared of her. The Sumida River. I have nothing but awful memories of it. Thanks. Anything else to look at? Nope. Nice bridge, though. I will go first. I am the lady of this. agreement. There's something I need to tell you. What's up? Well, that girl, Michio Shiraishi? The one who was with Shuichi on the day of the kidnapping. That's her. Well, she's dead. She's what? The student who committed suicide last week. That was her. I heard something like that had happened. Never got the name, though. Talk about bad luck. You finally get a lead, only to find it's turned into a literal dead end. Unless her death was the whole reason Jonouchi was so shaken up. He said she was going to curse him. Was he talking about her taking revenge from beyond the grave? It seems like we're back where we started. Not necessarily. That teacher knows something. I'm sure of it. At the very least, I'd put money on him having something to do with Miss Shiraishi's death. That's why he's so scared of being cursed by her. I see. And also, something tells me he knows more about your son's kidnapping. In any case, I missed it. I think I've got a good idea of what... Huh? I missed it. A hunch? Well, more of a theory. Care to take a guess? I know how we could figure out what happened. In any case, I think I've got a good idea of what he's hiding. Call it a hunch. That's what I missed. What he's hiding? What he's hiding? What is he hiding? I couldn't say. I'm just an ordinary housewife. I'm not clever enough for all of this. Are you sure? I'd had you down for a sharper than that. That's flattering, but I'm afraid you're mistaken. Anyway, that's enough speculation for now. The truth will out in time. Wait, you're not gonna give me your theory? Right now, I think we need to have another chat with Mr. Jonouchi. Let's think. Standing around is the last thing I want to do. This is my only chance to bring my son back. I can't afford to fritter it away. Please, go ahead. Alright then. I've been poking around places connected to the 7 mysteries, looking for curse bearers. And I think I found a few candidates. First, a tall man I ran into in Kinshibori Park. I asked him for directions, trying to probe him a little, but he turned the questions right back around on me. And he was out of there the second he figured I wasn't what he was looking for. I got the sense curses were nothing new to him. I'm about 40% sure he's a curse bearer. Oh! This is Jonouchi! He's a curse bearer! I wonder if he's the one that Shogo ran into first. Remember he found the lighter and then he got pulled into some building and it was completely pitch black? That's him! He was also the guy that I wasn't sure if we had killed or not. Anyway. Then there's this middle-aged guy I saw on South Warigesui Street. There's no question about this one. He had one of the curse stones in his hand. He had a nervous air about him, too. It was clear he was up to some shady business. Gathering soul dregs, I bet. He'd make a good target. Here's the couple that gave me trouble. Next up is a pair. Young man and woman. I saw around Ryogoku Bridge. Isn't that where we are? This time, the man came up to me and asked me flat out if I was a curse bearer. I told him I didn't know what he was talking about, and he backpedaled and left. Looks like they lurk around there often. Looking for kindred spirits would be my guess. Though it didn't seem like they were quite working as a pair. Gathering soul dregs in a group might be a decent idea, if you can make it work. But with things being how they are, it's gotta be hard to find folks one can trust. They've got brass, though. I don't know what their deal is, but I'd like to find out. And the cops! Yeah. He's the other guy that we're gonna be playing as. Last is two detectives I've seen sniffing around. The police are involved? Not necessarily. A body turned up in a local park a few days ago. So they might just be looking into that. Still, the park's got ties to one of the 7 mysteries. Might be it was a curse that did the guy in. And if they're sending in detectives from the head office, then something's gotta be up. How do you know where they're from? Let's just say that when you're in this business, there are some faces you get to know. Anyway, that's everyone who caught my eye. You found all of them in so little time? I really did hire the best. It's all in the name, ma'am. Richter Kai, P.I. No, wait. Make that Richter Kai, Investigator Extraordinaire. My, an investigator extraordinaire. Is that why you dress like that? Without drawing attention to yourself? You bet. An investigator extraordinaire can blend in like a chameleon in any outfit. Well, that aside, the middle-aged man and the young couple sound most promising. Am I right? Whichever we pick, still too early to make a move. It seems like the curse bearers are less involved with each other than we thought. Plus, there's still others we don't know about. I say we hang fire and see how things play out. Once more bodies start showing up, that'll get the pot nice and hot. And once it's boiling, our chance will come. You're a lot more involved in this than I thought you were gonna be. What happened to having, like, policies and a mandate that you follow? Where's your moral compass? I guess your moral compass gotta be a little loose to you know, be a PI. Let's think. Oh, you're thinking the same thing as before. Nothing new going on in here. Is something wrong? Not really. It just struck me. It's been 20 years since the Nejima murders. So it has. Not to spook you or anything, but I thought you might be interested in knowing. Life in prison doesn't always mean life. There's precedent for first-time offenders being allowed out on patrol after 20 years. Only if they're found to show remorse, and the desire to reform themselves, of course. That's right. I'm impressed you know so much. Why are you impressed? Wasn't he a former cop? Still, it's hard for someone with a criminal record to reintegrate into society. I hear they've been trying to fix that recently, matching inmates with jobs and accommodation. Oh, really? They keep an eye on them, of course, and make them report in for regular checkups. But to avoid discrimination, they keep the inmates' records a secret from everyone but their employers. They even give particularly notorious criminals new identities, so they won't be recognized in the workplace. My. The way you put it, it's like you're saying Fumichika Nejima could be out on parole right now. Back in society under a new name, with nobody the wiser. It's possible. Is he Muckman? I mean, wait. Muckman is Nejima. Is he Zonouchi? I need to look at their portraits. No, I want to look at the portraits right now. Persons of interest. Nejima. Where is Jonouchi? Huh? Wait, Jonouchi isn't here. He's not here. How can I look at their face? Jonouchi. Okay, he's not there. Ugh. As it happens, little birdie told me about a big name making parole a few months back. I don't know if that was Nejima, but our discussion just now did bring it to mind. I see. How unsettling. Now that you mention it, I just remembered something too. What was it? I was passing Komagara High School a little while ago when I saw someone. A janitor, I think. And I could have sworn he reminded me of Fumichika Nejima. Oh? He looked a little different after 20 years. Much thinner than I remembered too. I told myself I was just seeing things. But perhaps it was him after all. So, what next? The big question now is what the rest of the curse bearers are up to. Luckily, the Sumida River is a good distance from any of the 7 mysteries. It's unlikely the other curse bearers will come all the way out here. I could finally have a moment to think. I see. Alright. Huh? Suspend? Oh, okay. You cannot currently progress any further. Once your situation is changed, select resume to try again. Okay.